Namaskar. Welcome to this session. So, we were considering the dharna, dhyana, samadhi triad, which gives that intuitive mystic experience, and it is not experience as it is believed, it is becoming. The yogi's chitta becomes whatever is the support of meditation. There is a transformation and there is becoming. So we were seeing that in Samadhi there is omni-dimensional knowledge, and it is omni-dimensional knowledge because of the becoming. It is not the triad of knower, knowing, known, but it is becoming. It's a transformation, and Samadhi is therefore transformation and not trance. So we are trying to understand this idea of omni-dimensional knowledge, which is, again I repeat, is not a knowledge, it is becoming, it is transformation. So for instance, if the flower of rose has got mounted on the chitta for dharna, dhyana, samadhi, then the rose is not only seen as a perceptive object or visual object and olfactory object and tactile object, which is the sensory process, because we will touch the rose and feel the rose, we will smell the rose and feel the rose, we will see the rose and know the rose. But here, this is how we can understand as an example that I am mentioning. So it tells us about the retrospective stages of the rose that has come on Samadhi Prajna, that has got mounted on Samadhi Prajna. So from where the rose has come from the plant. From where the plant has come from the ground. From where the ground has come from Prithvi. From where the Prithvi has come, it is Prithvi Tattva. So from where the Prithvi Tattva has come, it is Up Tattva. From where the Up Tattva has come, it is Teja Tattva. And the Tej has come from Vayu. And the Vayu has come from Akasha. Akasha has come from tanmatra. The tanmatra of Akasha, Shabda tanmatra, has come from Ahamkara. The Ahamkara has come from Mahat. And the Mahat has come from Trigunas. So this is a complete retrospective view of the rose as a flower. So the Trigunas is the primeval, first ever form of the rose. Now, similarly, the subjective entity, it becomes rose in Samadhi. The subjective entity itself becomes rose in Samadhi. That's the mysterious aspect of Samadhi. Because the flower has come from Ahamkara Tattva and Mahat Tattva and Triguna. The Aham too, the subjective entity too, has come from Ahamkara Tattva. Ahamkara has come from Mahat Tattva. Mahat Tattva has come from Triguna, the Triguna Tattva. And therefore it can be transformed, because the primordial matter of the object rose and the subjective entity is one and the same. And therefore, the becoming, the postulation of the becoming of Chitta in Samadhi has some logic and reasoning supporting it. So, therefore, yogi becomes rose in Samadhi, and by that becoming, it is omnidimensional experience of rose, which precisely is not an experience, but as I have been telling you repeatedly, it is becoming. And this is not just fanciful imagination. When yoga postulates this possibility, probability of becoming, because otherwise in the worldly and empirical plane we can never become. You can be engrossed in rose, but you cannot become rose. You can be engrossed in music, but you don't become music. You can't become music. So on the empirical plane, such a transformation is not possible. But in yogic plane, it is possible, and it is not the imagination of Kalpana Vilas, or what can be called as a fanciful imagination. So that's why we class it as intuitive mystic aspect. But however, we can find reasoning and logic, which was just now explained. So that is the Samadhi perception, dharna dhyan experience, dharna dhyan Samadhi becoming aspect. Now let's consider one fascinating thing about Samadhi, that is Samprajñata Samadhi, which is of 4 phases as considered earlier. So there are 4 classes called Vitarkanugata, Vicharanugata, Anandanugata, Asmitanugata. So their supports are also Vitarka Varga or Vitarka class of supports, and then Vichara class of supports, and then Ananda class of supports, and Asmita class of support. So in Vitarka class of support, you can be counting Ekadasha Indriyas and Panchamahabhutas, that is 11 senses, and Panchamahabhutas, the 5 elements, which sums up to 16. And in Vichara class, Vicharanugata class, there are Pancha tanmatras and Asmita, which would be accounting for 6 principles. And then also the Buddhi, Mahat, Moola Prakriti, Pradhana also would be counted. So these are 16 plus 6. They become 22. And then the 2, namely Mahat and Ahamkara, would make 22 plus 2, 24. And these are the 24 principles of Prakriti. So entire revelation, realization of Prakriti is possible by Samprajñat plane. So listen to this once again. Vitarka class, 11 senses plus Panchamahabhutas, 11 plus 5, 16. Vichara class, Pancha Tanmatra and Asmita, Buddhi Tattva and Mahat. So it becomes 24. 16 plus 6 plus 2. So all the 24 principles are experienced in the Samprajñat plane. But then there is also Ananda class of plane, which is Anandanugata Samadhi, where there is intuitive mystic experience of the external atmosphere around the Purusha Tattva. So that is the 25th principle of Sankhya. And asmita is realization of the core principle of the consciousness, or the substrate of Chitta, which is Purusha. So that's how you can count 25 principles of Sankhya, 24 of Prakriti and 1 of Purusha. So all the 25 principles of Sankhya are realized. And of course, the Ishvara is the 26th principle. So there can be also Samprajña Samadhi of Ishvara, on the Ishvara, Antaryami Ishvara. So that's how 26 principles can be counted in the domain of Samprajñat Samadhi. And Patanjali has given very apt nomenclature for Vitarka class. He says Vitarka Anugamanam. For Vichara class he says Vichara Anugamanam. For Ananda class he says Ananda Anugamanam. And for Asmita he says Ananda Asmita Anugamanam. Now this Anugamanam is a fabulous concept and terminology that Patanjali has used. And therefore you find in the sutra the expression Anugamat. Vitarka Vichara Ananda Asmita Rupanugamat Samprajñataha. So the Anugamat word has come from Anugamanam. And to understand this word Anugamanam, so we have to basically understand the words in Sanskrit which are Gamanam, that's the basic term. Then there will be prefix to it Agamanam. Gamanam, Agamanam. Then another prefix which makes it Sahagamanam. Another prefix which makes it Pratigamanam. And another prefix that Patanjali has opted for is Anu, which makes Anugamanam. So what is this Gamanam? Gamanam is to be going. Literally it means going. So therefore in worldly plane we have the condition called Vishaya Gamanam. When the Chitta goes after objects, it is called Vishaya Gamanam. When the Chitta goes after Atma, it is called Atmanugamanam. When the Chitta goes after Brahma, it is called Brahmanugamanam. So it is Anugamanam. What is this Anugamanam? To understand Anugamanam, first we have to understand the word Sahagamanam. Sahagamanam, Saha means accompanying, going along with, going with. So when it comes to going together, it is called Sahagamanam. But when you use the prefix of Prati and make it Pratigamanam, it is to be going in opposite direction. So in our life, we are all going worldly or worldly. So we are all worldly people. So we are going towards the world. And when we go towards the world, we are going in opposite direction of Paramartha. And therefore we get into the mire of Prapancha. So, Sahagamanam, Pratigamanam, Agamanam, Gamanam, these are the words which should be understood. Now when we understand those things, now we come to Anugamanam. What is Anugamanam? So to understand the word Anugamanam, let me explain it this way. What is Anugamanam? Suppose you are going with your friend, it is called Sahagamanam. But what is Anugamanam? If you are under a hypnotic spell, you are not going along with hypnotizer, you are not following hypnotizer, you are not accompanying hypnotizer, but you actually do what is called anugamanam. That is to follow under a spell. So when you are following someone under a spell, hypnotic spell, as we can understand in psychological realm, so that is called mohanavastha. It's called mohana tantram or mohanavastha, mohanam, that is called spell. So when one is following someone under a spell, what is signature condition is that the person following loses the identity. He doesn't have his own identity. So if B is under spell following A, B is not aware of his identity or her identity, and he ditto emulates A, like what happens in hypnotic spell. So whatever is the suggestion given by the magician, the person will be following that ditto. So in Samadhi, the Chitta comes under the spell of support such as Vitarka, Vichara, Ananda, Asmita. So the yogi's Chitta is under a spell in Samadhi, and that is why very apt expression or word rather that Patanjali has chosen is Anugamanam. So the Chitta is almost as if under a spell of the object of Samadhi. That is what is the way to understand the transformation of Samadhi. See, otherwise, on psychological plane you can get concentrated and absorbed. Like you can be concentrating on a music that you are listening or a novel that you are reading. And beyond concentration, you can go to absorption. You can be absorbed. But you don't become music. You don't become novel. You are only absorbed in novel and you are only absorbed in music. You don't become. And therefore the tripartite division still remains there, which is subject, object, instrument. Say in case of you are hearing music, Shrota, Shravana and Shrotra. If you are reading a novel and you are absorbed, there is a Vachaka, there is a Vachanam and there is Vachita. So the tripartite division remains. So in case of novel, you are reading the novel is read and you are absorbed in it. So yoga psychology says that dhyata, dhyana, dhyaya, the tripartite division remains. But in Samadhi, the tripartite division going away and unified condition appearing, and that is what is Samadhi. And therefore, as I said in the beginning, dharna is not to be rendered as concentration, but it is confinement. Dhyana is not meditation, but can be absorption. And Samadhi is not trance, but Samadhi is becoming. If you say Samadhi is trance, it is designating elephant as ant. Point is, in Samadhi there is becoming, there is transformation. So that is why it is considered as intuitive, mysterious and mystic state. Now, in the topic of Samadhi, we heard about Vitarkanugata, Vicharanugata, Anandanugata, Asmitanugata. Patanjali also explains in the Samapatti topic of the first chapter, three kinds of Samapattis, namely Grohitra Samapatti, Grahana Samapatti and Grahya Samapatti. And then there is Tatsthata and Tadanjalata and Tadakarapatti. So I won't explain those terms here, as we had already discussed quite elaborately in the Samapatti topic. So in Samadhi, what happens? Arthamatta nirbhasa swarupa shunyamiva. That is how the Samadhi has been defined by Patanjali. So in the light of explanation that has been offered so far, one should now try to understand the Sutra of Dharna, Desha Bandha Chittasya Dharana. It's a confinement. Tatra Pratyaikatanata Dhyanam. So the continuous flow of cognition without any variation, without any alteration or alternation, that continuous flow of cognition is Pratyaikatanata. And then Samadhi is Arthamatra Nirbhasa Swarupa Shunyamiva. So that is how we have to understand the Samadhi concept. And more importantly, all these Samadhis, whether it is Vitarkanugata, Vicharanugata, Anandanugata, Asmitanugata, Grahana Samapatti, Grahana Samadhi, Grahya Samadhi, Grahitra Samadhi, it is all emanating from Om. That is the master key. The Pranava, the Om, is the master key, and all the mysterious revelations or transformations are going to come about from Om. So that's how I was trying to demystify the mysticism of Samadhi to possible extent. Now we are more familiar with the concept of dhyana. It has become a kind of practice for spiritual minded people that they do dhyana sadhana. They do dhyanam. Now what is this dhyana here? It is pratyayikatarata, and you should recall that Patanjali has given three connotations to dhyana. One comes in first chapter Samadhipada, Yatha Abhimata Dhyanadva. What is dhyana there? That should be recalled. Then in second place, Dhyana Heyaha Tadvruttayaha. So he brings in dhyana once again in the process of attenuation of kleshas and klesha vrittis. That is the second mention of dhyana. And the third one gets mentioned here, Tatra Pratyayikatanata Dhyanam. So the dhyana is a wider concept, and here it is not coming for concentration or single pointedness. See, there is a flaw in the word that we have for something that is called concentration. You can be reading a book and you can say you are concentrating, It could be a novel, very interesting novel, where you get absorbed even, and you say it is concentration. Now this is critically analyzed. Is it concentration? So try to decipher the very process of it. A process of reading a novel. When you are reading a novel, you are moving word to word to word to word from left side of your page of the book to right side of the page of the book. So your left hand side to your right hand side you are reading. So you are moving from word to word to word to word, and then you move from line to line to line to line, and then you move from page to page to page to page. So understand the pravaha, understand the flow. So it is not proper to call it as concentration when you are reading a book with concentration, because how is the concentration if you are gazing at a lamp, if you are gazing at an object? What is that? Where is the flow? There is no flow. But here, when you are reading a book, you are going from word to word to word to word to word, line to line to line to line to line, page to page to page to page to page. So where is that arrestation of the focal point? So it is not right to call it with technical precision that you are concentrating while you are reading a book. It is not concentration that you have while you are reading a book. Only you are free from distractions. So not being distracted precisely cannot be called as concentration. So that should be understood. And again we confuse between concentration and single pointedness, and we use them as synonyms, and there is a flaw. Single pointedness is different than concentration. Concentration is of the eyes, concentration is of your ears. You can hear something with concentration, you can see something with concentration. But single pointedness, what is point? A point is something which has no dimensions. Whereas what you have in your psychomental process is an object which is having dimensions. It is not dimensionless. But we are used to this flawful usage of the word concentration and single pointedness for one and the same condition, which is not proper. So let's try to understand ekagrata. Agra is point, eka means one. That is why it can be called as single pointedness. Now point is not a visual object, because a point doesn't have width and girth and length. The point is dimensionless. That means the point is nominal, not phenomenal. But when we use the word single pointedness, it is all very phenomenal. So therefore we are very loosely using the term single pointedness. And therefore, in the light of what we are discussing, we should also understand this. Now, pratyekatanata is the description or definition that Patanjali has given to dhyana here. So let's try to have a little interpretation of this. Pratyekatanata, that means it implies a flow. The chitta is a flowing substance. It always flows. Chitta will be flowing. Chitta is in a flow. Chitta is like a river. So it is pravahi. And it cannot be stambhana. There can be no stambhanam. You cannot arrest it. Moreover, in our vyachit state or vyathanavastha, outgoing state of the mind, our chitta is said to be like wonderful description that comes poetically. Markadasya surapanam tanmadhye bhuta sancharan. So, our chitta is basically like a monkey. Monkey is most unsteady creature. If you look at the eyes of monkey, it is very, very unsteady. Now the monkey is all drunken. Markadasya surapanam. Then tasya vrushchika damshanam. Then on top of it, it also gets a scorpion bite. It doesn't stop there. Tanmadhye bhuta sancharaha. And then not only that, but a ghost is aspecting the monkey. It is aspected by a ghost. Then you can understand what the monkey would be. Already a monkey, and then drunken monkey, then having a bite of scorpion, and also aspected by a ghost. It would be unpredictable monkey. Similar is our chitta. The chitta is always in pratyantara, for in vithanavastha. There is dissimilar modification taking place in the chitta constantly. It is always oscillating, getting tossed between sukha, dukkha, papa, punya, dharma, adharma, sruti, kalpana, panchavrutti, shadripu, worry, anxiety, desire, aspiration, whatnot. So, pain and pleasure, virtue and vice, merit and demerit, imagination and memory, and then panchavrittis, shadripus, which are kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, then worry, anxiety, and then desire, aspiration. So it is constantly tossed like a football. So chitta is always under the grip of something. The chitta is always taking support of something, or the chitta is always having concomitance with something, association with something. That is called vritti, and that is visadrush parinama, dissimilar modification of the chitta going on. That's how our mind is, and therefore a mystic poet calls our mind as monkey mind. And I just cited that wonderful couplet. So this is how our chitta is, and therefore we say that our chitta is like hurricane. It is difficult to restrain. It is chanchala. It is fugitive. But yogis chitta, which is dhyanagata, is like nivata sthaniya deepam. It is like lamp kept in a windless place. The wick of the lamp is absolutely steady. So also with pranava, it becomes universal, universalized chitta. It becomes transparent, clean, immaculate, crystal-like. It becomes transparent and crystal-like. And then the support of dharna comes in. And therefore the chitta gets bound to that support. That is chitta bandha. And that is desha bandha. And that is dharana. Then when it escalates then it starts becoming a flow, continuous flow of dissimilar modifications, consistent cognition. It becomes a flow, like river flowing on a plain. It becomes a flow. So that's the Chitta Pravaha, and that is dhyana. And there is Sadrusha Pratyaya Pravaha, similar cognitive content. Now, when there is similar cognitive content, you should recall I had given the example of a movie film which you are putting into a projector and trying to look at the screen, the movie picture. Now, in projector, what happens is that there is a lens, there is a condenser, there is a lamp, and between the lamp, projector lamp, and the condenser, the film is running from one spool to another spool. So there is always an arriving frame and departing frame behind the lens, between the lens and the lamp. There is arriving frame and departing frame constantly running. So one spool is getting filled up and other spool is becoming empty. These are, if you imagine a projector and the filming in projector. So the frames are arriving and departing, and that's why you get a movie vision, moving vision. But suppose you have shot a still in a moving camera from same focal point, no change whatsoever, not moving the camera, not moving the object, not zooming it, constantly same figure, then what happens? Every moment there is arriving frame and departing frame in the film, but each frame contains the same content, same image, and therefore you get the effect of still on the screen. Now that is how is the Pratyayikatanata Dhyanam. So there is seemingly a steadiness, although it is a flow. Chitta is in flow like a movie film. From one spool to another spool, it is constantly rolling. But you get the effect on the screen of still, because what is shot in the camera is still. So that is the Pratyayikatanata. So the object of that Samadhi, which is Vitarka Vichara Ananda Asmita or Grahana Grahitu Grahya, because of Tastha Tadanjanata, a time will come when the Chitta will become that. As you heard earlier in the session today, that Chitta becomes rose. The becoming is probable and possible and also logical. So that is Samadhi. And that's how the Samadhi is explained. So we have taken a collective view of dharna, dhyana and samadhi. So that should be enough for the time being. In the next session, we will try to understand the definitions of dharana, dhyana, samadhi and try to decipher the definitions which have come in Patanjali Yoga Sutra and in Vyasa's commentary, so that we will be completing the first 3 sutras in these sessions. So today's session is the last one, which comes as a run-up to the text. In the next session, we will try to understand dharana characterized, dhyana characterized and samadhi characterized by Patanjali and Vyasa. So that is enough for the time being. Namaskar, all of you.